So last week we spoke about Lil Peep passing away. Unfortunately, he overdosed. A lot of strong reactions from fans and rappers. So Lil Uzi tweeted that he said, "Sober today, I have been shaking. I have been cursing my loved ones out and fighting in the studio with no thoughts in my head, teeth biting down because I just want to be angry at something. Maybe I will just smoke weed tonight." So this was him saying that he would make the effort to not pop any pills, Xans. Clearly he was having a hard time with it, but you know.
I'm sick of this nigga. I am.
You just said people should stop, be careful with drugs, he's trying.
I know, but 2 days before he was tweeting, "Yeah, I fuck with people and I don't blame him." Very mixed messages from some of the leaders of our youth.
Some very young.
So
artists.
I'm you know, let's be positive here. This is a great thing. This is a great thing. Unfortunate that it took such a tragic event to wake so many of the young people up. But this is withdrawals. It sounds like Uzi is going through withdrawals. I know because I went through withdrawals. I cursed out all of my fucking friends. I was really irate. Your body has to get used to functioning without all of the drugs that you consume day to day. So, and it's, boy, is it tough. So I feel him. It is tough. But, you know, I'm gonna applaud him for being responsible enough to at least make the attempt. I'm gonna keep him in my prayers because I do believe that some of these kids are suffering from mental illness and they're having a hard time adapting in the public eye. I'm glad we're not talking about that interview that Peep's brother did. Did you read that?
I think at some point we're gonna have to.
Well, let's talk about it now.
So why not? Okay.
Yeah,
right, well,
it's in lieu of this conversation.
Let me touch on Uzi real quick and we could go in that because that might be the meat of the show. But the Uzi comment, first of all, I am super proud of Uzi. He did say something that was also very revealing as well. He was like, "Yo, hey, we've been on Zanny the whole fucking year, right? While you guys are turning up to my song, I was on it, right?" But then in that tweet, again, he's going through withdrawals, but for what I saw as a fan, I saw what I see from most artists where they rely on drugs for creativity too. Because he was like, "I'm in the studio with like no creative thoughts." Like it's like he doesn't know how to create without being under the influence.
He doesn't.
And
now
that might bring him back to being back on it, right?
Maybe if he's weak. If he's weak, then yes. I don't think that Uzi's superpowers come from him popping Xans. I just think he don't know how to operate without him. I think that that's a mental thing. I don't think that he's not creative. I don't think that it's writer's block. You just aren't used to living life without these pills. So yeah, that's gonna take some getting used to, some readjusting. You have to get in the studio and find yourself. Outside of the studio, you gotta find yourself. A lot of times these kids are popping pills because they can't find their fucking self. So we'll see, man. We'll see. That interview that Peep's brother did, though, and I mean, maybe later this week we'll get more in depth because he said a lot of shit, but a lot of points to attack there. He was basically saying that wasn't his brother and his brother was using that as a marketing tool.
That was so damaging for what I believe Peep his death has kind of meant for just hip hop in general. A lot of self-awareness, everyone realizing like, hey, this promotion of drugs or shit, let's be aware of people or rappers who might not be in the best mental state. This undermined everything. The first thing that, after reading this interview, and I believe it was done with People Magazine, I was like, number one, it's a credible source, so it's definitely an interview.
It's not a credible source.
People Magazine not credible?
People is trash.
Okay, but I do believe this interview did happen, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm looking at that, I'm like, yo, were they cool before he passed away? Because it don't sound like it at all. It sounded like he was saying, "I know you all think my brother was very sad, very depressed, and he used drugs to aid those things." But no, he watched wrestling like me as a kid, and he realized this whole shit is an act. He was paid to act sad. And we've seen certain other rappers, a couple of the rappers I see pop out on social media and they kind of said it and then took it back. But they were also saying it's kind of popular now to act sad or seem depressed just for a fucking gimmick in terms of manipulating the fans or promotion, and now even with drugs to just, it's a marketing tool. But to see his brother saying that, I was like, bro, it's like, number one, too soon, and aren't you his brother?
Right. What do you have to gain from doing that then?
I mean,
that was odd to me, real odd.
I had mixed emotions when I read it. I understand his position and the family's position in wanting to protect the memory of Gus and not Peep. I get that part. So you want to make sure that they're remembered for all of the highlights and the joy and the glory and the fun, and not, hey, you're depressed, suicidal, and all that shit. So I understood that part. And I maybe even understand him saying, my brother wasn't looking to kill himself. You know,
it was an accident.
He got a bad batch. That's about as far as I go with the understanding in what he was saying. Again, like I said, when we found out about this, some people can identify the language. When people are for real, and when people are for play. Nothing about what Lil Peep was saying looked like, oh yeah, this is my image and this is for marketing and promote. He was using words and language that you can't fake. That's the part that his brother is missing. Yeah, we could post some pictures, chop some hands up, put it in our tongue, all of that is cool, and that looks like we're glorifying something, right? But you cannot fake how he was saying he's feeling.
You know what's funny too? There's other people around him, and I saw those people kind of lash out because one of the main narratives now is to say, hey, we could have stopped this. Why didn't the people around him say anything? Why didn't just everyone say anything? And I feel the people around him are kind of feeling attacked, and they're saying, hey, I know y'all seen this super sad guy and we should have stepped in, but no, he was very jovial beyond what y'all were seeing. His brother's not the only person to say that. I've seen a couple other people say, yo, he was like having the time of his life. Every time we saw him, even when he was talking about his shows, he seemed very depressed, like he didn't want to be there. He seemed like, I don't want to be here. He put it on social media, didn't want to be here. You know what I mean?
That's the other part that's confusing, when people who are not familiar with mental illness start trying to gauge how mentally ill someone was. I don't need to hear Lil Peep's brother say, hey, he was happy and smiling. He loved Arby's. Like, I don't, what?
He said Arby's?
Whatever the fuck he
Arby's
said. I mean, I'm reading this and it don't sound like you know your brother too well. I mean, that's how it sounds to me. And I mean, I don't mean any disrespect in that, but I agree with you, bad timing, bad interview, and he don't sound like he was a dumb guy. Not Peep's brother, but nah, no.
But I agree with you. I think that's meant to serve the purpose of preserving the memory of Gus. You're right.
Uzi, survive the withdrawals. This will be the most difficult. This is the most difficult part. So it could be day one or one day. Hopefully for you, it is day one. Hopefully you have a really strong support group and network to help you through that, because when you're going through those withdrawals, oh man, those nights alone in bed. Boy, those nights alone in bed. Cold, sweats, not sleeping, not eating. You just not, yeah, thank God I had somebody there just to hold my hand and just keep me there in the fucking bed. That shit is dangerous, man. If you love Lil Uzi, support him through these withdrawals he's going through, honestly.
And I know I'm gonna sound very negative, and I don't mean to be, but I'm only.
Then don't say it.
No, I'm forecasting what I believe. There was so many rappers that a day before they're promoting this shit, now they're like super. You know, I'm like terrified I'm gonna slow down. In 3 months, man, all these niggas back on it, man.
Well,
I like Wiz speaking up, saying shit is trash. There's a few other people speaking up and using their voice and platforms to speak on it, but we'll see. I'm not gonna use this time to be negative and say what niggas is gonna do. And niggas gonna do it, and niggas gonna die.
okay. Look, again.
That's gonna be the end of that one.
Right. Drugs are addictive.
Rest in peace
it's
to
hard
Pete.
to kick, but they're trying.
My prayers are, again, to his family and to Lil Uzi and his people as well.
And we barely touch on the music of Lil Peep. I had the opportunity to really listen after his death more than before he died, which is so unfortunate. And I remember Post Malone, he was on a podcast, H3H3, and he was like, yo, this guy would have changed music. And I'm like, come on, man, we got to stop saying that. Dude's music was very powerful and timeless. So I do think it will last.
One of my biggest fears, right? Oh man, one of my biggest fears
is he died, niggas only play Pump It Up.
This is a real bad time for that joke. That you're young, so you don't know that. No, one of my biggest fears is pass out. I said this when Wendy Williams saying it. I was like, yo, you're gonna just pass out, faint, heart attack, seizure somewhere, and you have to rely on the people that you are around. Think fast, be on your feet, get them together. Hospital, it's quick decisions. One of my biggest fears is being around some idiots and then something happening to me health-wise, and then they aren't able to react quick enough. And I only say that because, boy, that video was disturbing where they thought he was sleeping.
Right.
Man, that video was super, super disturbing. And you know, they're young kids, but you would like to think that some people know the difference between a Xanny high and you being dead. Really unfortunate, really unfortunate.